Well, hey there, friends. It's me again, Carpo. Welcome back to the 22,000 subscribers special. No, I'm joking. I don't put on an act and I just can't do it. Sometimes I've thought about, what if I had a persona like, hey, everybody, welcome back to Carpo's channel. No, that wouldn't work for me. Oh, man, it's sad I make myself laugh more than anyone else does. At any rate, I said it again, at any rate. I've got to talk a little bit about fun stuff today. Fun stuff to me to talk about anyway. It's kind of the JOAT. Oh, you can't see that. Damn it. What the hell? There. Now you can. All right. There. I'll move here. I'll do something weird. I'll sit on the side of the screen instead. I've seen people do that, and it's like, kind of like that. At any rate, 9/3/22 today. JOAT. What does that mean to you? Jack of all trades. There's an old saying, Jack of all trades, master of none. The reason why that's where it stops, master of none, is because in modern society we've cut it off halfway. Because the original saying was, Jack of all trades, master of none, often is better than master of one. So, in my eyes, it became a symbol of how knowing more is a phenomenal way to live your life. But at the same time, if you know one trade, it will help you out immensely. And I'm not just talking about jobs here, so let me get to that. As a philosopher myself, see, I say that and I use that term because it instantly connotates arrogance. People are like, oh, a philosopher. Oh yeah, sure. What do you think about life? Well, of course. But I believe many of us are philosophers and don't even know it. But I also know a lot of people are not philosophers. I have met people who do not want to talk about the deep shit, who don't want to get into their inner feelings or the workings of the real mind of the world. There's kind of a surface, very superficial type, like, oh, wow, look at space, it's amazing. Or, man, did you know cells did this? People seem to be interested in certain facts, but when it counters a narrative that they've been taught, a good example would be like, wow, cellular biology is amazing, but I don't believe in evolution because I'm a Christian. It gets a little bit strange, but to each their own. As a philosopher myself, I realized that the best way to live my life is to be a generalist, which is another term. And this is about why it's good to be a generalist and bad. Because knowing a lot of different things is great. It helps you when your car breaks down. It also helps you understand maybe the best materials for the next car part you buy, right? If you know more about metal, or if you are familiar with certain brands, it would tell you what the most durable part to buy. There are so many aspects of cars that the more things you know, the better off you are as an automotive owner. If you're a homeowner, you can know everything about the market and how much your house is worth, but knowing how to fix your house, doing your own remodeling, those kind of things can benefit you. So there was one term I heard years back, and it was a multi-potentialite. Was what somebody used for I thought it was kind of interesting, but I don't buy into it. I think that some people are good at doing certain things. Some people are much happier doing multiple things. And this can make it very difficult to hold a job, because you instantly kind of lose interest. This is why when I started out doing roofing, I was like, fuck this, I want to do construction. There's so much more. And then eventually in construction, I was like, I want to do finish carpentry because the materials are endless, My only thought was I do not want to get stuck doing like drywall all the time. Or, even though the angles and the cuts are always different, the houses are different, I want to do something that's more, down my alley of every day is different work. And that's hard to get. And I still haven't found that. But today, these days I'm doing tiny houses. So I'm building, different tiny homes with different specifications, which is nice. But at any rate, going back to being a philosopher, being a generalist, I want to give you the benefits, why I think it's important to learn many different things besides the physical ones I gave you, fixing your house, fixing your car, There's a lot of mental aspects of it that are kind of overlooked. the more things you know, the better armed you are for complex discussions. When somebody wants to bring up something, you know, controversial, or even something trivial, but you're better armed to explain your position and understand the discussion. But the downside of that is that the other person might not understand the things you're explaining, so they just ignore them. But also, you're more confident in yourself and your knowledge. Even if other people don't believe it, it doesn't matter. You're more confident knowing that, hopefully, that you know what you know. But there's a lot less arguing from ignorance, which I think is good. And it's also, it's easier to assimilate our knowledge and ideas the more different things we understand. Easier to put together a coherent view of, what life's all about and what we should be doing with our lives. I you will be seen, I guess, as an arrogant person, like I said. And you will argue more with people the more things you learn. Because the less things you know, if you're a specialist and you only know one field, then you'll just trust what you're told, and you have to, because you can't argue from ignorance. But if you learn about another field, whatever it might be, honestly, when I've gone to the doctors, for example, I usually know more about my own condition or my kid's condition they had than the doctor did. They had to look it up on Google because the doctor can't know everything. So if you want to know about your own health and your own specific needs, you have to look that up yourself, right? And I think it's the same with everything. Especially with science, for example. People talk about how, this science says this or says that. It depends on what sources you believe, but the more you look into something, you find out that, well, I've only heard this. I didn't realize that this was going on and that was going on. And that there's a lot of corruption and BS and bad statistics, because that's just how humans are. Often it leads to the money, but that's another story altogether. It can really be a lonely path when you decide that you want to pursue the truth. And I'm not talking about the YouTube truth where you just watch conspiracy theorists and believe everything they say. I'm not talking about the truth where you are an academic and you've learned everything about one subject or another, or you understand everything about history. It takes a full rounded view of the world to build a understanding of people. I think that the more topics that you understand about people, the better armed you are. So, for example, if everything we know is about just physical things rather than actual interactions, then we probably don't really understand human nature. This is where we get xenophobia and fear and racism, where people are scared of another culture because they've never seen them or don't understand them, but because they've never talked with them. We all know talking face to face changes everything. But that's good, because you can still have good arguments face to face with people where both people respect each other, but the internet's kind of twisted that. So modern day philosophers, if you put your thoughts out to the internet, you'll get spit on, and that's just fine. It is how it is. I guess it depends on what you talk about, though. So, I don't know. You got to be humble. You just got to be humble. Especially realize that you don't know everything about everything. And I think I'm happier knowing a little bit about everything. I had this list that I made. And I encourage people to make their own lists of things that help them. The first one was all the things that I was interested in and I have been growing up, right? So I've got art, music, science, plants, and building. And I wanted to connect those to where I'm at today. So I drew arrows and I was like, okay, so I went from my art to construction, but also I was interested in building, so construction. Then that went to carpentry. Then that taught me to build houses and guitars. And then eventually building tiny homes. The carpentry helped me build tiny homes. So I also have art, which led me to draw and paint. and then I made beadwork and did necklaces. Then I did jewelry, and then eventually that led me into, jewelry. My art and music interests led me to writing, and then talking, and then to YouTube. And my plant interests led me to gardening, then cannabis, and then eventually kratom and herbs, and started that business. So all these different things led me to my jewelry interests, my YouTube, guitars, and my tiny homes, the kratom business. And how do all these things come together? Generalism. And so that's my little path. Oh, I guess it doesn't really come out well, but it's just a little sketch. So I had this other generalism sketch. It starts out with plants. Help me. This is how all the different things help me out with guitars, right? I thought this would be just fun to add. So I have the plants, understanding about plants and being interested in nature helped me choose the wood for the guitars. Understanding carpentry obviously helped me build the guitar. Moving into jewelry, it helped me to design and detail the guitar and do the resin and the grinding and having the right tools for jewelry stuff. Being obsessed with music growing up, it helped me play the guitar and actually enjoy it. And the science, understanding and being obsessed with scientific aspect helped me understand the hardware and the sound, put in the pickups, and know how the ohms and different hertz work. Moving over to YouTube helped me market them and then build my own home, construction, live life, learn more, and then the cycle continues. I haven't got to that part yet. I want to build my own house. I want I want to buy a piece of land and build a property up there. And my family. I want my kids to be able to spend at least a few years before they're grown, in a place where it's not all busy. It's just a matter of finding the right acreage and getting the hell out of the city. And it's tough because we want to keep in a place that's close to our jobs. But, that's a different story altogether. I'm rambling now. That means I should go. So thanks for watching. And I think maybe that's why I tend to go off topic. Maybe that's why my channel's never been refined or really focused on a topic. Because as a generalist, I'm into totally different things all the time. Whether it be, like I said, jewelry this week, records the next week, weed the next week, books, different books, recording stuff. I can't focus on one thing. I'm not going to call it OCD or ADD. It's just me. Peace out.